Hey guys, what's going on? Inception here, and welcome to another video. Today we are going to have more questions to answer, as you guys know that we normally do with our videos. Some of you guys have been asking why the videos haven't been longer than they usually are, and I completely understand that people like the long videos because they're kind of like in the form of a podcast for people to listen to. So it really depends on the time that I have each day to create content, because right now with content on YouTube, it's very difficult to come up with different things right now. I mentioned this in a couple podcasts. So right now it kind of seems like the grab for the videos is more like whatever I pack, essentially, right? So it's very difficult for me to come up with like unique things to do because people don't care too much about the creativity. So that's why it's harder to talk about things for a longer period of time, because there's not really much to talk about with FIFA right now. Now, unless the World Cup mode comes out, then that'll be an entirely different situation. But as of right now, it's very difficult to come up with different things. But I will try to make the videos as long as I possibly can for you guys. I think the estimate that people want is usually around the 35 minutes or 40 minutes mark, so I will definitely take that into consideration. It's actually really funny because when I made these types of podcasts in general, people were complaining that the videos were too long. So the moment I switched to like 15, 16 minutes, which is a very viable time for certain people, that's when it became more of like a thing where people really kind of realize that they like the videos longer. So again, I will definitely consider making them longer. I'll try my best to do that because FIFA forum wise, they'll be more of the people that'll have more of a different discussions for me, because normally with the YouTube comment section, it's usually the same answers like with Lauren Blanc, Ronaldo, Neymar, those kind of guys. But it's nice when you go on the forums and they talk about different things. So I will look into the comment section right now from the previous video to see if we have anything anything that people would like to say. So Manolas is a very good center back. Got Roma through in the Champions League. Yeah, he scored a pretty decent last few minutes goal for Roma. It was a nice header, to be fair. From that angle, it was actually pretty impressive that he hit that. So yeah. Do you have a streaming schedule? Currently, I don't really have a streaming schedule. Currently, I don't really have a stream schedule. It's very random right now. Like sometimes I stream in the morning, sometimes I stream in the afternoon. I think the most ideal thing for people in my stream would be for me to stream in the afternoon. So anywhere from like 6 from 7, and then I just stream from there. I think that's like probably the most ideal time for people, because people aren't at work, doing school, all that stuff. They're all home and they're all down to just watch a stream during that time. So, but I've been very inconsistent recently, again, because it's very hard for me to play the game and kind of figure out different things to do, because when I play like foot drafts and stuff, it's the only fun that I have. But even with foot drafts, you know, the pack weight is very, very weird in terms of the players you can pack. So again, very difficult to come up with things. So in regards to the last video, with the title of the video, it's very weird to me how YouTube kind of works sometimes, right? So obviously as a YouTuber, you try your best to come up with a thumbnail and a title that's the most engaging for people, right? Now, I'm not sure why people disliked the video so much in the last video because of the nickname of a player, right? Because the nickname of the player is Maradona of the Carpathians, or Carpathians, however you pronounce it. And if you Google that, right, Maradona of the Carpathians, you will actually see that it's Haji as the player. So it's very weird for people to go into the video and expect me to pack Maradona when, in quotes, the nickname of the player, and it's in the title, is Maradona of the Carpathians. Like if you search up on Google, and this is gonna be a small screen for you guys to see, but this is what pops up, right? So it's very weird. Like they even have like YouTube videos of it. So I have like certain people in the comment section that's saying like, where's Maradona? But it's not Maradona. The nickname is Maradona the Carpathians. That's like saying we packed the gypsy and it's Quaresma, but people are like, where's the gypsy? You know what I mean? It's just weird, right? But yeah, my role as the YouTuber is to try to come up with like an engaging title and a thumbnail for people to click. If I packed Maradona, I wouldn't say we packed an Argentinian god. I would say that I packed Maradona. I don't think any YouTuber, well, very few YouTubers would only say like, oh, this is our rewards. The only person I've ever seen do that is Fuji with his Hullet pull, where he got a sick pull from his monthly rewards. And his title wasn't super clickbait. So I respect that. But when you're growing a channel, that's just kind of like the way it works, right? Like I even noticed with the growth of the channel, like even it still increases even when you do those types of videos. But that's just how it is in the YouTube world right now. So yeah. Sterling 87 versus Willian 87. That's actually a pretty good comparison. The reason why that comparison is solid to make is because Raheem Sterling's card is actually a ton of fun to use, right? Because he's very fast on the ball. His dribbling is very good. But if I was going to choose between a Sterling card and a Willian card, I would probably go with the Willian card because I think the Willian 87 is the man of the match version of the card, which it is. And that card also has the 4-star weak foot, as well as a little bit of extra height. Instead of him being 5'6", he's 5'8". So I think I would definitely prefer to use Willian over Sterling, but the Informed Sterling card is a very viable card. Only thing that's missing with him is obviously physical presence, which can be very noticeable when the game plays very sluggish, and the lack of a better weak foot. The weak foot will always be a very relevant thing in FIFA, especially nowadays with, you know, driven shots being the most ideal way to score. So if I were to choose between the two, I would probably go with the 87 Willian card. What do you think of Milinkovic's Savage's price? Do you think they will keep the base icon upgrades? In the SBCs, EA, the way that EA do the SBCs for the consumers in general, it's more beneficial to them than it is beneficial to the consumer, right? So are the SBCs fun to do? Yes. Are they worth doing? Absolutely not. If I really cared about the coins that I had in my club, I wouldn't do those SBCs because they're not worth doing at all. It's better for you to just sell your players and then to try to buy those cards, right? So if you play drafts and you pack an 84 rated, I'm not sure how much they cost nowadays, but there was a time where they cost like not 86k. They cost like 5k or 6k, and that's a lot of money, right? So if you were to get those players, it would be more ideal to sell them, because even with the SBCs being a thing right now, a lot of the drafts that you win are still not worth playing, which says a lot about the current state of draft, right? Like you can pack a player that's like 86 rated in one draft, which will give you that 10k profit, because that and other players as well in the packs, it'll give you like that 10k profit. But then if you lose a draft, then everything was just not worth the time spent. Like draft right now is a type of game mode where it's really down to just trying out different formations and different players and not being forced to always use the meta, right? Because if you play Division 1, it's very, very meta oriented. So do I think that they'll keep the SBC? I don't know if they'll keep it forever, but I think they'll keep it for a decent amount of time, in my opinion. Who should I use next to Blanc at CDM, Mateus or Rijkaard? See, that's the type of question that people think that I ignore them, but like technically I do ignore those questions. Reason why I ignore those questions is because they're the generic questions I don't always want to answer, because I've gotten that question plenty of times. If I was going to choose between the two, with 88 Mateus and 88 Rijkaard, Rijkaard I think is medium with a 4-star weak foot, but on the off, when he's moving left and right, he's going to be a little bit more sluggish. Mateus is more of a center mid than he is a CDM, but he would still play the CDM role decently. So very, very situational in my opinion. But I would definitely, I don't know, it's hard to say. Those two, it's difficult to come up with which one I would rather use than the other. When you are dribbling with the left stick, are you pushing it all the way to move your player, or slightly pushing and moving it to get faster movement and turns? No, I'm pretty sure when I'm using the left stick, I'm pushing the left stick all the way, because you have to hold it all the way, because if your game is sluggish, if you're not holding it all the way, it just doesn't really work, right? So, yeah. Haji rated only 85. That's BS. His stats should be way higher. It should be somewhere in between 88 and 89. That's Haji's baby card. There's 3 versions of his card. So with the prime version of his card, which still isn't that great because he has 83 pace, he is a 91 rated player on not full chemistry, but his highest potential is a 91 rated card. So not too bad, but not ideal. I think someone like Willian would still somewhat play the role a little bit better. Now, and it depends on the trait. So he does not have the finesse shot trait, and I don't think Willian does either, because his finesse shots don't feel that great. He does have the long shot taker, so if you take a shot with his right foot or his left foot, it'll be very good. But other than that, prime version of the card, still not really worth getting, but definitely fun to try out. Will a defender on 8 chemistry play badly? It depends on the center back. I think that if you get someone like Eric Bailly on 8 chemistry, I think Eric Bailly would still play very well in the team because he has general stats that make him a very good center back, whereas a lot of other players in the game kind of don't. So I would definitely recommend trying out certain players on 8 chemistry if you can. Like I try to play Jerome Boateng on 8 chemistry, and I still think that he needs those chemistry stat boosts to make him a little bit better because he does feel slightly worse without the chemistry style boost with 8 in regards to 10. But someone like Eric Bailly, there was a time. Oh, sorry, I forgot that I was still on this overlay right here. There was a time where with Eric Bailly's card, I was using him on 8 chemistry, and he did play that role very, very well. I apologize for me being on that screen, guys, but it's okay. It's still a discussion thing regardless. So, yeah. What other questions we got here? What do you think of Suarez and Bale as strikers along with second informed Perisic as a cam? I've used second informed Perisic as a cam. He plays the role pretty nicely. He's not a bad card to use at all. His bounce is very noticeable in the game, but he's a really, really fun card to use. So I would recommend using him as a cam, considering he does have 87 short passing with 80 long passing. So I would definitely consider using him for sure. In regards to Bale and Suarez as the strikers, Bale I would say would have to be used as a left striker, and then Suarez as the right striker because of the driven shot. So when you get into the box, most of the times, it really depends on how you play, to be fair. But most of the times you kind of get into the space, you want to be able to do a driven shot with Bale, because Bale doesn't have the finesse shot trait, and it's very noticeable in game, but he does have, you know, the long shot trait, the chip trait, all those kind of things. So if you're using him as a left striker, I feel like he would definitely play that role a little bit better for you, in my opinion. Suarez is just incredibly clinical in front of the goal. Like he's something about him. Like it's got to be traits or something. Like he just scores the most like ridiculous opportunities in the game. So definitely worth trying him out in a team for sure. Is it worth upgrading second inform Ake or Baye to Baby Rio? Would you rather upgrade Christmas Herrera or Birthday Rooney to Baby Hullet? I think Baby Rio is a good card. I don't know if he's better than Baye, and I know that's like a really weird thing to say in general, but Baye is a very, very good center back. And the thing that I tell people all the time is that Baye is on the level of an icon. Now, Baby Rio, I believe, has medium work rates, and he's an entirely different player to Eric Baye, because Eric Baye is medium high and has different types of characteristics. So would it be worth upgrading to a Rio Ferdinand? I don't know, because you're getting a different type of center back in that role. So that's something that you would have to try out, but it would be at your own risk, because you can't get a lone Rio Ferdinand. So it would be difficult to know exactly whether or not he would play well on your team or poorly on your team. Some comments that were responding to you were saying that Baby Rio is amazing and carried me to Elite 1 and finally beat Division 1. He's amazing. I didn't buy him, but I packed him in the SBC icon and got the foot swap Henderson instead of Hullet, and they play just alike, I swear. Yeah, Henderson's SBC card looks pretty interesting to try out, to say the least. I actually told people that if I were to get the cards, there's 3 cards that I would probably get, and it was the Wendell, the Henderson, and there was the other third. I can never remember the third card that I would get in terms of whether or not a card would be really good or bad. I can never remember the name of the card, but though it's the first 3 cards. It's the first 3 cards in the selection process. I wouldn't get Alexis Sanchez because I think Alexis Sanchez is an awful player in the game, but a lot of people like him, so I wouldn't personally save up for the Alexis Sanchez. I like your content. Keep it up. Who CDM and wing is better, Conte and Hazard 90 or Son third inform and Dembele? Dembele as in like Moussa Dembele as a CDM? You don't want to use Moussa Dembele as a CDM. Moussa Dembele as a CDM isn't ideal, but Conte and Hazard would definitely be good for sure. If you're using Hazard on the wings, Hazard plays decently on the wings, very quick in comparison to Son. So I would definitely go with the Conte Hazard situation rather than the Son Dembele, because I think when you say Dembele, you're talking about him being used as a CDM. So if you're talking about him being used as a CDM, I wouldn't necessarily be an ideal thing for me personally. Werner versus Cristiano Ronaldo. Werner has 86, 63. Dude, without even consideration, Ronaldo is just better. There's not really any ifs, ands, or buts to it. Ronaldo is just a better player. How can we send you our team and squad and tell us how to improve our squad? I don't really do that through the YouTube videos because when people send me their squads, there's so much like you need to show like a visual representation of what a person's squad looks like, because most of the times when people send me squads, it's the very, very generic squads. And for me personally, like I get tired of kind of like saying like, oh, you should put this player in this position, because it's very generic. Like that's why I have the videos of the best midfielders, defenders, and attackers, because it'll give you an idea of what types of players you need in your squad. So when people send me their squads, if they do it through donations on Twitch, then it'd be very rude for me to not review it, because you know they're donating at least. But it's not something that I do all the time, because the squads nowadays are very, very generic. So if you ask me to make a squad for you, it'll be very generic. The fun aspect will depend on whether or not you like it. But I wouldn't necessarily recommend always asking people like what types of squads they would use, because everybody's different, right? So, yeah. Salah 90 or versus regular Messi? Why do you click left and right like 5 times before pressing resume? I click left and right quickly to see if there's any lag. If there's lag in the game, then I don't play it. Because when you're in the pre-game lobby, if you press A and it doesn't go into the game right away, that means that the game's going to lag 100% or even have delay. But that's not really like a guarantee. It's a for sure way of telling, but even games that don't feel like they're going to lag will still lag. So, yeah. Salah 90 versus regular Messi. Regular Messi is a good player, but I think Salah's 90 would probably be more ideal, I would say. Yeah, I think Salah's 90 would be more ideal, because Messi's weak foot is already... I think they say that Messi has a 4-star weak foot, but I think you guys will agree with me when I say this, but he definitely doesn't have a 4-star weak foot. Messi's weak foot 100% feels like it's like a 3.5 or like a 3.2. It doesn't feel like a 3, but it definitely doesn't feel like a 4-star either. So, yeah, very situational with that. But I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily think that Messi actually has a 4-star, because if you guys do driven shots with his 4-star weak foot, like it's not like Ronaldo, but it should be like Ronaldo because it's also 4-star. So it's very weird. He just doesn't feel like he has a 4-star weak foot at all. Please make the videos longer. This is all in caps, by the way. Please make the videos longer again. Inception, I hate these 18-minute vids, and I want the 30+ minutes ones. It was so FIFA educational. Will do, my brother. I'll try my best, man. It really depends on the time that I have to make the videos. You know what I mean? Make the videos 30 minutes again. It's really funny because when I made the videos 30 minutes, there's people that complain that the videos are too long, and then when I make the videos short, people complain that it's too short. So I guess with comment section, I'll just go with the longer videos, because longer videos helps the channel more anyways, and if people like those videos, then I'll definitely consider doing those more. I think the foot swap was just a get along until Team of the Season releases. Yeah, I think that as well, but I still think that the foot swap thing in general was just completely underwhelming. Now, the thing is, right, is that in comparison to FIFA 15, at least we're getting more players and there's more gameplay stuff to do, but it's not enough to bring people back. Like, Foot Birthday was because of the types of players that they released, right? I really think for EA to really reignite FIFA again, I really genuinely think that Foot Champs, the 40 games concept, needs to be completely eliminated from the game. I think it's such a stupid concept. But I also think that EA needs to consider making game modes that are fun. Like the World Cup game mode of 2014 was a perfect example of that. An actual fun game mode in the game. Boateng and Alaba or Ramos and Jordi Alba? So in regards to Sergio Ramos and Jordi Alba is a fantastic left back to use. His jumping can be a problem though if people are doing those far post crosses. Ramos is more ideal to use in your team if you are an aggressive defender. So he will aggressively get the ball back for you because of the high medium work rates. Alaba and Boateng are a very good duo together. Like the high medium with the medium high works really well with each other. So it depends what type of team you have, right? Like I think the Ramos, Jordi Alba, Boateng, Alaba situation is very down to what type of midfield you have, what type of formation you're rocking. Like if you're rocking like a 4-3-1-2 or a 4-2-3-1, those players will play differently because I tried to use an Alexandro and a Benashia on the team, which should have played well, but they didn't link up really well with the midfield because of the balance between the midfield and the defense. So those are things that people need to look into more when they're making their squads, because those are very important. Sometimes, like a Benashia and an Alexandro are not bad cards in FIFA, but they can perform poorly depending on the players that are around them, right? That's a very big thing with FIFA. What's the best affordable legend by your opinion? I love this content. Keep it up. The best affordable legend? The best affordable legend? I don't know, to be honest. Like, most of it is like center backs, because center backs are... If you could get better center backs that are icons, and that would be more ideal, but midfield-wise, like, there's not really much to go by, in my opinion. Like, Rijkaard has a decent center back card. I think Rio Ferdinand has a decent center back card. But I think the only one that's genuinely worth the price that you're paying for is the baby Laurent Blanc, if you're using him as a CDM in your team. If you're using him as a CDM, then he'll play very well, in my opinion. So you're going to give us some coins after your recent luck, or, oh, in terms of the players that I packed? That's the thing, right? So the reason why I make the titles so, I guess, like, attractive for people to click on is because for people, these cards are good, but for the full meta, all the icons that I packed aren't very good. Now, I did pack Zanetti, and I am trying to find where I packed Zanetti, because I don't have the footage of him. Like, I don't have the raw footage of me packing him, but I do have the footage of me packing him somewhere, but it's in my Twitch stream, so I need to find exactly which day it was, but I don't think that's going to be possible unless one of you guys know exactly when I packed Zanetti, because I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the Haji pack pull, someone mentioned to me that that was the first video I made, and I didn't think that was the first video I made. I actually thought that Zanetti was the first video I made, so that was honestly a mistake on my part, but again, that's just me trying to scavenge and try to find a video for me to make for everybody to enjoy, because again, very, very difficult to come up with different stuff now. The pack pulls is what pulls people in, because again, guys, my content is the same for every single video, but the title and the thumbnail is what attracts viewers to the channel, right? So, because like I said, every single video is the same, but it's those two things that attracts the viewers, and people need to understand that when a YouTube content creator is trying to do this and trying to grow their channel, that's kind of like what it's about, right? So I try to be as clever as I possibly can. People were upset with the Maradona title thing, the Maradona the Carpathians, but that's the nickname of the player. That's an interesting title to gauge the viewer. But if people genuinely expect that Maradona was going to be in the pack, that doesn't really make much sense, because it's in quotes and it literally says in the title. I didn't change the title. It was always the same. I didn't say like we packed Maradona. It's Maradona are of the Carpathians. You know what I mean? It's like saying, like, it's like comparing Messi to Maradona. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's very weird. It's the process of trying to find what works the best, right? So, yeah. What's your opinion on Prime Luis Hernandez and Leon Bailey 85 Inform? Still the best FIFA YouTuber right now. Thank you, man. In regards to Prime Luis Hernandez, I like his card. His physical presence, along with his height, doesn't really do it for me. His finishing ability is actually quite nice, and he does move very fast on the ball, but I don't think he really offers much for me to actually get the card, like if I really, really wanted it. In regards to Leon Bailey's 85 card, the card actually looks like it would be usable, because if you actually look at the specific stats of the card, he has 97 acceleration with 94 sprint speed, along with 96 agility and 86 balance. Now, the thing that is lacking with the Bailey card is the composure and finishing, and that's the thing that I always mention to people, because those two things are going to be incredibly noticeable on the card. So the 76 finishing, the 76 composure, finishing-wise, Like, you wouldn't think that it would be bad because he has 85 shooting, but those two things in general are going to be very noticeable in regards to whether or not the card is going to be bad or good. But that is going to conclude the video for today, guys. I'm going to show you guys who we packed in the draft after this segment right here. So for those of you who watched all the way until the end, thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you guys did enjoy the video, please drop a thumbs up on it. It definitely helps the channel out a lot. And I hope you guys enjoy the pack opening. Thank you guys for being here.